The challenges of today are stronger, are more urgent, are more precise.
I think we're in a period where we're hitting a bunch of barriers, and it's not totally clear to me how we're going to break through those.
The fact that we already know today that within the next 40 years, we will probably be in a situation where water demand will exceed supply by 40%. Even by the year 2020, we are already confronting a situation where roughly 1/3 of humanity will be living in water-stressed areas in the world.
The big fear, of course, is that 2012 will be the great failure that 1992 was. And quite honestly, we cannot definitely afford another failure, because all indications are we've already passed several tipping points, several points of no return where we've upset balances. We'll never recover them, and the world that lies ahead is a very uncertain one, because we are undermining the very life support network of the planet.
A lot of the decisions we need to take go beyond an election period. They go beyond financial statement. They even go beyond maybe our lives. And so if we don't think long term, what will the company be in 20 years, in 50 years?
I fear sometimes that we are a little dismissive of incremental change, and actually, you can win a baseball game with a lot of singles, right? And if all you're doing is waiting for the grand slam, you might not get that. So I think we should look for leadership where we find it, and I think we should grasp onto every incremental change we can, because it may be the quickest path to sustainability. We can do a lot while we're waiting for transformation.
We have to begin to restore and more sustainably manage the ecological infrastructure, that is the soils, the river basins, the wetlands, the oceans, which are the providers of services to our society.
And we won't get off the destructive path that we're on until we have, and I hesitate to say this, but I think it's true, until we have experienced a series of ecological disasters that are big enough for people to wake up.
There will have to be some shocks in the system. The likelihood for me is they're going to be economic shocks first and foremost, rather than collapsing ecosystem shocks, or certainly not enough shocks coming through the changing climate to persuade people any more than they're persuaded today.
I would predict that the only thing that's going to take over from sustainability is going to be survivability. And in my judgment, over the next 20 years, we're going to reach that point where the survival instinct of the species is going to be fully activated. Once we go from sustainability to survivability in the common perception of average people around the world, we have the basis for a cultural transition.
So we've got to look at the relationship between food security and climate change. And as we begin to realize that climate change is driving the rise in food prices, then I think we'll have people responding to the climate issue in a way we've not seen before.
For us to get where we need to go, industry has to lead. It's very clear that industries have to lead, that the governments can't lead, and that I don't know that they should lead, because everybody has to be competitive in this world, because economically, the world's really one world now. And so industries have to, and leaders have to recognize that there is a better business case around sustainability. They have to believe it and be convinced at it.
But we also need, all of us, not only the business sector, to be more responsible with natural resources, and that means giving natural resources a value. Water will continue to be wasted if it has such a low cost. The same thing with energy, the same thing with wood or with other biodiversity elements of any ecosystem.